Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Suggs, and today we're going to talk about retelling stories. You listened to a story about Piggie and Elephant. They're really funny characters, aren't they? Usually, fiction stories talk to us about characters in a setting doing things throughout a storybook. And one of the things that we have to do as good readers is to try to remember what happened. We have to try to make meaning out of the words that we see and we read. So we're going to do that today for our reading lesson. We're going to practice that together. There's one little trick I have for you to help you remember to do those things that you have to do as a good reader and remember the parts of a story. It's called the 5-finger retell. The 5 fingers of our hand can help us remember 5 things that we want to say about a story that we listen to. We can remember characters, setting, the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story. So let's do the easy part. This book that we just listened to had 2 main characters in it. They were on the front of the book too. And they did things throughout the whole story. You remember who they were? They were Piggie and Elephant. Now, what was interesting about this storybook was that all the words came from these 2 characters talking. So we had to really pay attention to what was happening to these characters and their faces to see how they were feeling and where they were and what they were doing. So let's now think about the second piece of the story retell, the setting. The story did not tell us that these characters were at their house or at school or at a zoo. We got a little clue though. We could see a little bird flying, and that clue let us know that the setting of the story was outside. So Elephant and Piggie are outside in this story. So what happened to them at the beginning of the story? What happened first? Can we remember? Sure we can. Along came that bird and landed on Elephant's head. And look at his face. Do you see how he feels about that? He didn't like it. He didn't want that bird on his head. So what happened next in the story? We've done 3 parts. Let's see if we can remember what happened next. Let's see if I can get my finger to stick up there like that without the other one. What happened next? That's right. I don't know if you can see it very good because my picture right here is covering up a little bit. So let me close my picture so you can see. There we have it. 2 birds came along and landed on Elephant's head. Well, he didn't like that either. Look at his face. When those 2 birds, not only did they land on his head, but they built a nest and they had 3 eggs. He didn't like it one bit. And do you remember what happened last at the end of the story? Piggie was a good friend to him. Piggie made a suggestion. He said, Elephant, why don't you just ask them to leave? And at the end, he said, yes, I will try asking. And he did. They picked up and they moved to Piggie's head. And look at Piggie's face. Now he was the one that was unhappy. What a silly story. By remembering important things that happened in the story, we can decide if we like a story. We can tell someone about it. We can choose to read it again, or we can choose not to read it again. Fiction stories have things that we can tell, and our 5 fingers can help us remember those things to tell and remember and share.